Happy, what day is today? Tuesday, you guys. Okay, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna fly through this presentation. List 16. So we'll start with fantastic phrases and then move into the roots. Fantastic phrases this week are a little bit more straightforward than they have been the last couple of weeks. So it'll be a little bit of a break for you guys. They're pretty simple, I like this week. So our first word is onus. This means burden. This doesn't mean this means like a emotional burden, not a physical burden. Well, it could be a physical burden too. You're just not picking something up. So after the study guides were passed out, Miss Gallo said, "Well, y'all, I've taught you all I know. The onus is now on your shoulders to do well in the final. So now the burden is on you to do well in the final. The onus of your sins fell on Jesus' shoulders. So again, it's a figurative burden. Kind of the weight is now on you, or the weight is now on Jesus. Et tu, Brute, this is, and you, Brutus. This is said to be Julius Caesar's last words as he was assassinated on the floor of the Senate. Brutus was a friend of his, and he also stabbed him. Shakespeare makes this phrase famous in his play Julius Caesar, so there's no actual proof that this was said, but made famous by Shakespeare himself. We will be reading parts of Shakespeare later this year, Julius Caesar. So just like veni, vidi, vici, this phrase is applied to modern situations. So you've probably heard this said before, or you've used it yourself. So the examples: when Jenny saw her best friend's handwriting on the cruel note, she whispered, "Et tu, Brute?" And the second example, when Nick joined in making fun of me with my family, I looked at him laughing and said, "Et tu, Brute?" So in both of these, you're looking at your friend who you thought had your back and saying, "And you," like you are joining in on this, just as, quote unquote, Julius Caesar said to Brutus. Okay. The third is exempli Grecia. This means, for example, but look at the abbreviation. You're going to use it always in its abbreviation, never in its full form. Remember, the period goes after the E and the G. You have to abbreviate it correctly. I will count it wrong. Your examples: personal electronics, e.g., cell phones, laptop computers, may not be used during the flight. So here how I actually abbreviate it. It's like IE. You would never say it est, you would say IE. So this, you don't use it in its full form, you use it as EG. Second example, these PowerPoints are difficult to make, e.g., they are time consuming. I have to come up with example sentences and choosing multiple fonts, but they are beneficial to you. So again, you're using the abbreviation and not the full word. Laissez-faire, let it be. This is an adjective describing a policy of not interfering with something, often used to describe government economic policies, for example. So we just did another word that is similar. C'est la vie, that's life. It's kind of a attitude of, well, that's the way it is. But this is more used for policies. I have an example on here that's not a policy, but most of the time you're going to see this used more in economic policies than just in everyday life. But I did give you an example sentence because you can use it in everyday life. It's just not as commonly referred to in everyday life as it would be in governmental economic policies. So your first example, the mother has a laissez-faire attitude about raising her children. As long as they are home at night, she doesn't care what they do. And your second example, in government, the definition of laissez-faire is the theory that government should have a very minimal regulation of commerce, which is trade, export, import, or that people should be able to do what they want without interference. So laissez-faire is just this idea of let it be, hands off, whatever the other person wants to do is fine. All right, so Greek and Latin root words. So your first one, manu, which is hand. Manacles, these are manacles, the picture of, they are kind of your first handcuff. They weren't adjustable, so as soon as the adjustable handcuff came out, the word handcuff was used more often. Manipulate and emancipate, those are your other two derivatives. Mar, which means sea. Your examples are aquamarina, juxtamarine, and submarine. Term means to limit or end. Terminal, determine, or terminate. I want you to try and figure out why I put pizza and a cheeseburger on here for a word that means limit or end. And I'll ask you on Wednesday why I did that. And then test means to witness, testify, testimony, or to test. Again, I wanted you to tell me, why do you think I put a picture of James Harden on my example for test, which means witness? All right, that's it. Please, please, please make sure you wrote down your example words here for the Greek and Latin root words. Write down the examples. I'll say it one more time. Write down the examples. On your Fantastic Phrases, make sure you wrote down any special note because yours do not have anything on them. So if you can't remember how it's actually used, please, please, please make sure you wrote that down. On Wednesday, I am going to grade your story. So if you walk in here and you say, oh, I didn't write down the examples, too bad, too sad, you're not getting a grade for it. So please write down the examples and any special note for how it's used. Okay, love you guys. Have a good day.